Here again with another Breaking Bad Season 2 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am, you're rewatching or watching Breaking Bad, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case and you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And for those of you that are wondering, I've watched this show countless amounts of times, but I wanted to rewatch the show and have a discussion. So join me on the journey of rewatching and discussing this amazing show. This will be Breaking Bad Season 2, Episode 4. The title of this episode is called Down. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. Another scene of a stuffed animal in a swimming pool, and somebody in a hazmat suit kind of fishes it out of the pool. And then we have back to present time. Jesse goes to a convenience store. Walt is also there, and they start to have a conversation, a discreet one, where nobody really knows that they're actually talking to each other. At least that's what I think. Even an officer comes in there as well. And Walt tells Jesse no more cooking for a while until things boil over, as, you know, what he had to tell his family, the fugue state stuff. Skyler wakes up the next morning, and Walt's not there. She yells, "Walt! I'm in the kitchen!" Walt's made breakfast. Walt does a lot of rambling about what Skyler heard, thinking he had a second cell phone. "You heard my alarm go off, because that's when I'm supposed to take my medication. It sounds just like my ringtone." And then Skyler has had enough of this. She knows that Walt is making up some random story and decides to leave while Walt is talking and doesn't even tell him. Jesse is actually being kicked out of his aunt's house by his parents and their lawyer. The lawyer tells Jesse to vacate the house within 72 hours, or he's been authorized to contact the authorities due to the fact that he had all the cooking equipment down in the basement, which of course is no longer there because it's in the RV that's at Badger's cousin's place, so he could fix up the RV and get it running for them again. Skyler comes back home, and Walt asks where she was, and she says, "Out." Mrs. Pinkman wakes up Jesse. The time for talking is past, Jesse. All Jesse's things are being put into storage. He says he took care of his aunt and took her to all of her appointments. That's not enough, Jesse. And Mrs. Pinkman, which I don't know if they ever actually said her name on the show, but she slaps Jesse in the face. She says to leave your keys behind and the padlock. Lewis rings the doorbell. "Me and Flynn have to get going," he tells Walt. And Flynn is what Walter Jr. likes to be called these days, Skyler tells Walt. Jesse calls the white residence. "Which part of no contact didn't you understand?" And then Walt mumbles something about "we're happy with our cable provider, right?" And then hangs up because Skyler had walked in. Skyler's leaving again. "Where are you going?" "Out." The phone rings again. Walt tells Jesse he will contact him when he's ready to, and hangs up. Jesse goes to an old friend's house. His name is Paul, but he calls him P, I believe. Jesse and Paul were in some sort of band, at least we're led to believe that, something like that. And then Paul's wife comes home. Now Paul has to tell Jesse that he's totally spaced it out. The in-laws are coming and you can't stay with us for a couple of days. And Jesse's like, "I get it." Jesse's trying to find a place to stay and nobody's letting him stay with them. So Jesse takes his anger and frustration out on a payphone. Then he goes around the corner to find out that his moped has been taken. The guy's like, "Man, somebody took your bike." More things to irritate Jesse. So Jesse goes to Badger's cousin's place and climbs over the fence because he wants to sleep in the RV. And he stands on top of the porta potty and then falls through it. So he's covered in like this blue chemical substance. And he goes in the RV. And he lays down, he starts to gag, so he grabs one of the masks that they use for cooking and puts the mask on so he's able to sleep. Skyler goes out again. Walter Jr. wants breakfast. Walter Jr.'s only point on this show was to sit there for breakfast, other than one episode when he goes to Walt's apartment. Okay, that's spoilers for later episodes. And Walt says and suggests to Walter Jr., let's do something fun today. So he decides to teach Walter Jr. how to drive, which he's already given him lessons how to drive, but he's given him more lessons. And he tells Walter Jr. Stop using both your feet. Badger's cousin wakes up in the morning to see his property, or his porta potty, damaged, and there's a trail of the blue stuff leading to the RV. He tells Jesse he wants the money for fixing the RV. Jesse says he can't pay him now, but he can pay him next week, or he can pay him this week. And then, so he forces Jesse to get out of his place and locks him out. So Jesse climbs back over the fence after Badger's cousin had escorted him out, and he gets in the RV and drives off in it. Walt apologizes to Skyler for everything. Skyler says, thank you, and asks, is that it? And then Walt's like, you're obviously angry about something, so let's talk about it. Skyler tells him to tell her what's really going on, because she knows these desperate breakfasts and this story about his alarm is all bullshit. So Skyler leaves again. Walt follows her outside, and when he follows her outside, he notices that the RV is parked very close to their house. So Skyler leaves, and then Walt calls Jesse a pathetic junkie, and then him and Jesse kind of start to fight. Jesse's got Walt on the ground. He's about to do this, and then Jesse stops. Him and Walt kind of make up. Walt lets Jesse into the house, gives him half of the money that he has, and cooks Jesse breakfast. And then we see that Skyler's outside a convenience store smoking a cigarette, with people looking at her like, wow, you're pregnant, you're smoking. And that's what ends the episode. So it's an okay episode of Breaking Bad. Obviously, there's more crazy stuff that's about to happen, so you're having the slow burn until that stuff happens. So I'm going to score the episode an 8.1 out of 10. My character of the episode is going to be Jesse for the males, and I'll give Skyler the female character of the episode. I mean, was there any more females in the episode other than people sitting in their car watching Skyler, smoke? Or actually, you do have Mrs. Pinkman, but she's simply not featured enough in the episode to have her have any consideration. So Skyler and Jesse. So you've heard what I have to say. Now it's your turn. The whole purpose of doing this is to get a conversation started. So first of all, make sure that you Hulk smash that like button to help me out with the YouTube algorithm. Unless you feel that this video is terrible and you don't want to like it, I get it. Not everything can be great to everybody. If you want to comment with your thoughts on the episode or things that I talked about or things that you want me to improve on, you can do that as well. I wouldn't do a reaction to this show because I've already watched it, and I don't really like doing all the editing that it takes to do a live reaction, but it is my reaction after watching the show. Share the video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. When you're leaving a comment in the comment section, if you want to rate the episode as well, and tell me who your male and female characters of the episode were, or just one if you want to choose. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.